Cuckoo! Yeah, got you there. This is the second attempt to discuss the same topic. I previously shot this blog with the 20mm lens, which I first deemed on autofocus not to be so good, so I put it on manual focus, but it still wasn't so good. This is a fantastic lens for stills, but for vlogging it really isn't. You should call it a 20mm hunting lens. It continuously is adjusting its autofocus, even when you're standing still. Highly frustrating. Additionally, when I wanted to edit the entire thing, the sound was completely off with the movement. So all in all, it's fair to state that the 20mm causes a bit of rework. Anyhow, what I'm going to discuss today is not as much what I wanted to have the original review on. This is the DMC-LX100 on the American market. It was my starting camera. It is a fantastic camera to start with, but I found a better camera which you can use to actually really get your photography going. My journey was as such. I always had this secret inkling to do photography, and like many people, I never did. And this is kind of what I guess most people will do, is have an idea and not do anything with it. I got an Apple phone, started taking some shots for a couple of years, and developed a more healthy interest in photography. So last year I decided to buy my first camera, which is this baby, as I just saw you, DC-LX100 or 80. Fantastic camera, 60 times optical zoom in focal lengths on a 35mm on the conventional length. This is up to 1200 to 1400 millimeters, so you really can shoot from long distances. The picture quality is pretty awesome. This is really your point and shoot camera. It can also, for the ones who are more serious about their photography or vloggerlofery, if you want to do vlogs, yeah, you can also shoot 4K on this mode. It's the same as we're shooting in right now. The downsides, the major downsides are you have a built-in lens, which actually limits your capabilities, so you really have to shoot with this lens. Not that ideal if you're into video. You can also make some decent stills out of this. You'll see a few flashing by while I'm talking right now or later on in this blog. But all in all, built-in touchscreen. It is a touchscreen, which is good. Yeah. The downside is because it is built in. If you want to take a picture, you'll be readjusting the focus with your nose. Highly annoying. Highly annoying. Battery life is okay, but after a few months I got more and more enthusiased, and I really got sick and tired of shooting on IA or on M or on... Really, it didn't do much for me. I really needed to have this point where I could understand the technique behind photography. And with that, I traded, I have to make a bridge now, traded this baby in for this baby. And this is the Lumix LX100. It is by far my favorite camera from Panasonic, because what this baby really did was, and probably the ones of you who are more into photography recognize these two manual buttons. It looks awfully a lot like what Fuji cameras has with their XT series. It is kind of similar. So you really have a bang for buck. This camera goes, unlike the FZ at €250, this goes around between 450 and 550. An upgrade has been released last year, the LX100 II, which the big differences are. The sensor is not a 16. This one has a 16 megapixel. The sensor on the LX100 II is a 20 megapixel. The built-in, yes, again, built-in LCD screen with no touch function, that's been upgraded as well in the LX100 second version. Mind you, the lens is still the same, so it still is, I think it's a 10-30, which is on here from Leica. Fantastic lens, by the way, nothing really wrong with it. You can make absolutely great pictures with it. You'll probably see a few flying by here and there. That said, the big difference between the LX100 II and the LX100 is the price. This one goes new nowadays between 450 and 500 in most European countries. In America, I guess you can get it for 350 new. It wouldn't surprise me. The LX100 II, which was made just like this machine by Leica, goes new it was around 900. Now the prices have dropped to 780, but it's also remarkably similar to the cameras of Leica, who worked on this one and have released a very similar one. So with this camera, as you can see, it's small. It really is small. The grip also is literally non-existent. It's something I really don't like, but then again, you can easily hold it like this. There's nothing to it. It's light, you can pack it. The lens doesn't go off, so unlike the GX80 or some of these other machines, you can get a different lens on. This is your kit lens, so this is kind of the downside as well. So we go again, no real touch screen, no chance to change the lens. But that said, I did say I love this camera, which you hear me bitching, you wouldn't say so. But what is really magnificent is you get a digital camera with all the perks, but you get analog controls on it. So I've learned more from the aperture, the incrementals here from lighting, being able to control the actual aperture here, yeah, the diaphragma. The highest one is 1.7, which really makes it fantastic to actually shoot with in low light conditions. The lowest f-stop is f16, which is good enough on a very sunny day to still be able to get decent stills. So it really is a great camera for photography. However, like most Panasonics, there also is video on this. And in this particular camera, there is a 4K video mode, like in all cameras. Yeah, it also has HD modes. So from that perspective, it's all great. You can shoot with it. And it actually is, bizarrely enough, the best lens I have had. I have about 5 different Lumix lenses, yeah, an Olympus lens, but this particular built-in one is the best for filming because it really gives you a wide view. Yeah, it's not, after all, it's a 1030 or 1038 lens, which is great. The only downside hereon is for those of you who want to use it for vlogging. You can film with it as long as you're not dependent on the actual quality of the audio. That's where the problem is. This camera has a built-in audio which is good enough. Yeah, it's good enough, but it won't suffice those who are really intense into blogging. Because the sad thing is, you do not have any kind of input mechanism for any kind of jack. So this is really a downside for those of you who are serious about your own voice, or who are at a concert or wherever and really wanna get some decent audio. This is probably not the best camera for you. That said, what this camera does is it makes you really, because of these 3 little 2 buttons and a ring here, it really makes you start appreciating the technique of taking technically okay photographs, stills. It's very simple. I never understood, for instance, how the diaphragma worked. I thought 1.7 would let in no light and 11 would, you know, let in much light, and in reality it's just the other way around. Yeah, so this is where you see these famous f-stops. I never had a clue what it was, but I was interested in it. That said, the type of picture you're making and the quality of it still isn't guaranteed. One of the key things here is to understand that just because you know what the technique is doesn't make you a good photographer. So that's what, I guess, training gets you, yeah, or just going out and doing it. Yeah, you probably see a few stills flying about, because one of the things I did like about this camera, for portrait it was fantastic. It was very good for street photography, not as much for wildlife photography and sports photography, because simply you don't have the tele zoom options or any kind of long range like the DCF-Z82 has, that goes up to 1200 millimeters focal length. Yeah, you can forget about this here, about that kind of thing. But with that, second hand, and this is also something, if you're going into photography, probably the best thing you should do is buy second hand. You know, it saves you a lot of money. This one second hand, you'll probably get in decent condition for about 300 euro, maybe even cheaper. In America, probably a hell of a lot cheaper. In Asia, I guess you can get it as well. But this, people, if you're really into photography, you want to learn the techniques, this is the baby you have to use. Anyways, hope you like this little infotainment, and be seeing you next time. Subscribe if you want to, if don't, just visit it. It's okay. Bye.